All right, my friends, so this is a problem that I'm encountering so much on this batch, and it's because so much brass is military brass with the crimped in primer. And so I have this tool right here. Where is it? And it's a primer pocket reamer, and it has 4 cutting blades to cut away the brass around the primer pocket and make enough room for the primer to be seated. Now, if I don't do a very good job on that when I'm depriming it and I notice it, then when I'm seating the primer, it only goes in a short amount, right? And then as I'm pushing forward on this lever to pull the ram down and drive the primer or drive the case onto the primer, the primer goes in a little bit and then stops. Okay, but then all right, so now the primer's sticking out the bottom of the case, right? And it's preventing the case, so there's the primer. If you can kind of tell, it's in, but it's not. So previously what I was doing, I was just crushing them so that I wouldn't reuse them, and I would have to push this forward really hard and crush the primer down enough to get it off of the shell holder. Right, you can see right there the primer sticking out the bottom of the case. Until I finally realized what I can do, if I don't force it down too hard, if I stop when I feel it, that it's not moving, I can use this 45 ACP resizing die, which has and so there's the pin that pushes out the primer. Now a 45 ACP has a much wider diameter, much greater diameter than a 223. So I can just drive this case almost as if I'm going to deprime it. Well, I am going to deprime it. Just got to line it up just right. If I can find it. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. Now we got it. Okay, so I'll just push that up, and then that pin will drive out the primer. I'm going to put this back in so I don't lose the primer, and gently push the primer out. I don't know if you heard that, but it just popped out. It landed on the ground right here. I'll have to inspect it, make sure it's still in good condition. And now this case, what I'm going to do with this case, I'm going to take the primer pocket reamer. I'm going to put this like right there with some other ones, and I'm going to ream the primer pocket again, this time making sure that there's enough metal removed so that the primer will seat properly. And that way I'm able to save the case, save the primer, and have fewer of these. One of these, when I set the primer in the little holder, I didn't notice that it was sideways. And you can see it forced it in sideways. So that was a good case and a good primer, but operator error on my part. So I had to crush it and make sure it doesn't get reused. So far I've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 primers. Those came out of this pack that had 32. Now it has 26. And I know a lot of guys out there have been reloading, and they have all kinds of specialized tools and machines, but this is how an ordinary man deals with these sorts of problems. So, all right, my friends, I'm going to prime the rest of these cases, or use up the rest, 1,500, however many I got left, primers, and then we'll look at bullets. All right, my friends, you have a good day.